Welcome back to Real Family Secrets. Sometimes the truth does not arrive through a confession. Sometimes it comes through a baby monitor. My wife thought I was in the garage, but I was sitting beside our sleeping son, listening through the monitor as she told another man that our child would not understand what was happening. "Eli is only 4, she said. He'll adjust. Jason will move out eventually. He's too stable to make this ugly." The man on the other end laughed quietly. "And you're sure?" "I know my husband," my wife said. "He won't fight me." My name is Jason Miller, and that was the night I learned the difference between being peaceful and being powerless. Melissa and I had been married for 6 years. We met at a friend's 4th of July barbecue. I was standing near a grill, trying to rescue a tray of burgers after someone forgot them. Melissa walked over, took the tongs out of my hand, and said, "You're doing it wrong." That's a confident opening line. I teach fitness classes. Confidence is part of the job. She saved the burgers. Then she stayed beside me for the rest of the evening. Back then, Melissa was energy. She talked with her hands. She laughed loudly. She made friends in grocery store lines and knew the names of every barista in our neighborhood. I was the opposite. I worked as a logistics manager for a regional medical supply company. My job was schedules, routes, inventory, late deliveries, and problems that had to be solved before they became emergencies. Melissa said I made her feel safe. I believed that was a good thing. When our son Eli was born, I thought our life became complete. I remember holding him in the hospital at 3 in the morning. Melissa had finally fallen asleep, exhausted and pale, and Eli was curled against my chest like he had always belonged there. I looked down at him and made a promise I never said out loud. Whatever happened in my life, I would be the place he could feel safe. I did not know I would be tested on that promise so soon. By the time Eli turned 4, our house had changed. Not dramatically. Not all at once. That is how most things change. Melissa started teaching more classes at the athletic club where she worked. She led children's movement sessions in the mornings and adult strength training sessions in the evenings. "The extra hours are good for us," she would say. "We should be saving more." She was right. We had a mortgage, preschool fees, car payments, a child who somehow outgrew shoes every 3 months. So I supported her. I did not realize that extra hours had become a cover. The first strange thing was book club. "The girls are meeting every Thursday now," Melissa told me one evening. I did not think much about it. She deserved time with friends. Parenting a young child can make adults forget they existed before snack cups and bedtime routines. "What are you reading?" I asked. "Oh, nothing serious, just a novel." The next week, I asked again. "I don't remember the title. Claire picked it." I noticed that, but I did not question it. Then there was Aaron Cole. Aaron was one of the personal trainers at Melissa's club. He was married. He had a daughter around Eli's age. He was friendly in a practiced way, the kind of person who remembered names and compliments and exactly how long to hold eye contact. I met him once at the club's summer family event. "Jason, right? Melissa talks about you all the time." At the time, that made me smile. Later, I wondered what exactly she had been saying. The night everything changed was a Thursday in November. Rain pressed against the windows. The house smelled like the chicken soup I had made for Eli, who had a cold and had fallen asleep early. Melissa stood in the hallway wearing jeans, a cream sweater, and the perfume she normally saved for date nights. She picked up her bag. "Book club. Have fun. You sure you're okay with bedtime?" "I've got him." She kissed my cheek. Then she walked out the door. Eli woke up around 9:30. "Daddy?" "I'm here, buddy." His nose was stuffed. He wanted water. Then he wanted the lamp on. Then he wanted it off. Then he wanted me to sit beside him until he fell asleep. So I did. I sat in the old rocking chair near his bed while the baby monitor glowed softly on the shelf. The monitor connected to a small camera in his room and another unit downstairs. We used it because Eli sometimes woke during the night and because I worried more than I admitted. At 10:12, I heard the front door downstairs. I assumed Melissa had come home early. I almost called out to her. Then I heard her voice through the downstairs receiver. "You can come in. Jason is in the garage." I stopped moving. Eli was asleep again. I was not in the garage. A man's voice answered. "Are you sure?" "Yes, he's fixing the lawnmower or something. He won't come in." I knew that voice. Aaron. I did not run downstairs. I did not grab the monitor and start recording everything with my phone. I sat completely still beside my sleeping son. Because in that moment, I understood something important. Whatever I did next had to protect Eli. This can't keep going, Aaron said. Melissa was quiet for a few seconds. I know. Then what are you going to do? I've been looking at apartments near the club. My hands tightened around the arm of the rocking chair. You mean you're actually leaving? Eventually, not tonight. I need to make it look gradual. Make it look gradual. Jason will move out eventually, she continued. He hates conflict. He'll want things to be peaceful for Eli. And Eli? Eli is only 4. He'll adjust. He won't understand. I looked at my son. His dinosaur blanket was pulled up to his chin. His small hand rested beside his face. He understood more than she thought. Children always do. Aaron lowered his voice. Melissa, I'm not leaving Natalie. For the first time that night, I felt something almost like relief. Not because the betrayal hurt less, but because I understood the truth. Melissa was not leaving me for a future with Aaron. She was trying to build a backup life while keeping everyone else in place. I know that, she said. Then what do you expect? I expect you to stop acting like I'm asking for forever. I'm asking for one person in my life who sees me. I had heard versions of that sentence before. You never listen. You're always thinking about work. You don't notice me anymore. I had tried to listen. Maybe I had not always done it perfectly. But I had never stopped choosing my family. Aaron said, You need to be careful. Jason might fight you for custody. Melissa laughed quietly. Jason won't fight. He'll think he's protecting Eli by being reasonable. That sentence did not make me angry. It made me clear. I waited until I heard the front door close. I do not know how long Aaron stayed. I did not go downstairs to find out. I was not going to wake my son. I was not going to create a confrontation in the hallway where Eli might hear it. At 11:06, Melissa came upstairs. She opened Eli's door slowly. Is he asleep? Yes. I'm glad you got him down. She leaned over and kissed Eli's forehead. Then she looked at me. Everything okay? Why wouldn't it be? She watched me for a moment. You just seem quiet. Long night. She nodded. Then she went to bed. I stayed in the rocking chair until almost midnight. I listened to Eli breathe, slow, even, safe, and I made another promise. I would not use him as a weapon, but I would never allow anyone to use him as leverage either. The next morning, I went to work as usual. I answered emails. I spoke to drivers. I fixed a problem with a late shipment to a clinic outside the city. On the outside, I looked normal. On the inside, I was trying to learn how to breathe in a life that had changed overnight. At lunch, I called a family law attorney. Her name was Elena Walsh. A colleague had recommended her after his own divorce years earlier. Mr. Miller, she said, before we discuss what you think happened, I want you to understand something. Okay. Do not make any sudden moves. Do not remove your child from his routine. Do not threaten your spouse. Do not interfere with her work. And do not record or share private conversations without understanding the rules where you live. I nodded. I don't want to make this worse. Then start by being the most stable person in the room. That sentence stayed with me. Be the most stable person in the room. Elena explained that family law depended on local facts, parenting history, finances, and the child's needs. There is no magic phrase. There is no perfect evidence that guarantees an outcome. What matters is what supports Eli's stability. That's what I want. Then document your parenting involvement, preschool pickup, medical appointments, bedtime routines, your work schedule, the support system around your son. I had never considered that loving my child might someday require a calendar. But I understood why it mattered. That afternoon, I made another call. Dr. Nora Patel's office. I'm looking for a child and family psychologist. I did not ask for someone to tell me Melissa was wrong. I asked for someone who could help me protect Eli from the damage adults create when they stop being honest. Dr. Patel met with me 2 days later. Her office had soft chairs, shelves of toys, and a small fish tank in the corner. It looked like a place built for children who had been asked to understand too much too early. Tell me what you are worried about, she said. I'm worried Eli will hear fighting. I'm worried someone will ask him to choose. I'm worried he will think one parent leaving means he did something wrong. Dr. Patel nodded. Then you already know what not to do. She helped me make a plan. No arguing in front of Eli. No asking him questions about either parent's private life. No making promises about living arrangements before adults had made responsible decisions. No treating him as a messenger. Instead, we would give him routines, bedtime stories, preschool, breakfast at the same table. Clear, simple reassurance. Safety before explanations. I waited 4 days before speaking to Melissa, not because I was afraid, because I wanted facts, advice, and a plan before emotion entered the room. On Tuesday evening, after Eli fell asleep, I asked Melissa to sit at the kitchen table. She came in holding a mug of tea. "What's going on? How long have you been seeing Aaron?" The mug stopped halfway to her mouth. She looked at me. "What?" "I know he came to the house last Thursday. Jason, I know you discussed apartments. I know you said I would move out. I know you said Eli would not understand." Melissa set the mug down with both hands. "You heard us." The baby monitor was still on. She looked toward the hallway, then back at me. "You were listening to a private conversation. I was sitting beside our sick son in his bedroom. You invited another man into our home while you believed I was outside." Her face tightened. "It wasn't physical. That is not what I asked. We talked, that's all." "Were you planning to move out?" She did not answer. "Were you planning to use Eli as a reason to make me leave?" I was scared. Of what? Of being stuck. I looked at her for a long time. "I never wanted you to feel stuck. But you do not get to escape a difficult marriage by turning our son into a strategy. I don't want to lose Eli. Neither do I. That is why we are not going to treat him like something one of us wins." Melissa cried for a long time. She said Aaron had made her feel noticed. "I felt like I disappeared after Eli was born. I'm sorry you felt alone, but you had choices before betrayal. I know. You could have talked to me. You could have asked for counseling. You could have said you were unhappy. Instead, you made plans with another man in our home. What happens now? Now, we talk to professionals. We create a parenting plan. We stop making secret decisions around Eli. You already spoke to a lawyer. Yes, you planned all this. No, you planned to leave. I planned to keep our son safe." Melissa stayed with her sister for the next 2 weeks. Not because I threw her out, because we agreed that Eli needed quiet while we figured out how to speak to him without making him afraid. I kept his routine steady. Breakfast at 7. Preschool drop-off at 8. Dinner at 6. Bath at 7:30. One story, then the dinosaur nightlight. It sounds simple, but simple was exactly what he needed. A few days later, I learned something else. Aaron was not only married. His wife Natalie worked part-time at the same athletic club. She handled membership events and children's weekend activities. Melissa's kids' movement class took place 2 doors down from Aaron's training studio. They were not just two people who had met by accident. Their worlds had been overlapping around families and children while they told themselves it was harmless. I did not confront Aaron at the club. I did not call Natalie in anger. Elena advised me to keep the focus on my marriage and my child, not turn the situation into a chain reaction of public humiliation. But Natalie deserved the truth. I met her in a quiet cafe near the athletic club. She arrived wearing a navy coat, still carrying a staff badge in one hand. "Jason? Natalie, thank you for meeting me." I told her only what I knew. Aaron had come to my home during the time Melissa said she was attending book club. They discussed a future that assumed I would leave my home and Eli would simply adjust. I did not exaggerate. I did not need to. Natalie listened without interrupting. When I finished, she stared at the table. "He told me he had late clients." "I'm sorry. Did they sleep together?" I took a breath. "I do not know. I know they crossed boundaries. I know they made plans that involved my family. And I know you should not be the last person to hear it. What are you going to do?" "I'm going to be a good father." Natalie nodded. Then she cried without making a sound. Well, the athletic club opened an internal review after both Natalie and I raised concerns through the appropriate channels. I did not demand that anyone be fired. I reported a conflict involving staff, client spaces, and children's programming. What the club chose to do was not mine to control. Aaron eventually resigned. Melissa took leave from her children's classes while the club reviewed its policies. Neither consequence came from me trying to destroy them. It came from choices they had made in places where trust mattered. 6 weeks later, Melissa and I began family mediation. The mediator's office did not look like a courtroom. There were 2 neutral chairs, a low table, a box of tissues, a framed poster that said, "Children need safety, not loyalty tests." I read that sentence 3 times before we started. The mediator, Paul Donovan, spoke calmly. "This is not a place to decide who was the better spouse. It is a place to decide what your child needs from both parents." That was exactly why I had agreed to come. Melissa spoke first. "I want equal time with Eli. I want him to have both parents." She looked at me. "You do?" "Yes. I do not want Eli to grow up believing his mother disappeared because I was angry with her." Melissa's eyes filled with tears. "I thought you wanted to take him from me. I wanted to stop you from deciding his life without me." The mediator asked us to describe Eli's routine. I brought a binder. Melissa looked at it as if she had not expected that. Preschool schedule, pediatrician details, his allergies, favorite foods, bedtime routine, emergency contacts, the names of his closest friends, notes from Dr. Patel about stable transitions and age-appropriate communication. It was not a weapon. It was a map of our son's life. "I'm not here to win," I said. "I'm here because he deserves to know where he will sleep, who will pick him up, and that neither parent will make him carry adult secrets." Melissa began crying again. "I thought you would make this ugly. You thought I was too calm to protect myself. You were wrong. Calm is not the same as weak." The mediation took several sessions. We agreed on a gradual parenting schedule that gave Eli consistency. He would stay in the family home with me during the school week at first, while Melissa settled into a nearby apartment. She would have regular afternoons, dinner nights, and alternating weekends. We would review the plan with a child specialist after several months. No surprises, no disappearing, no changing plans through Eli. It was not the life I had imagined, but it was honest. First morning after Melissa moved into her apartment, Eli woke up before sunrise. "Daddy, I'm here. Is Mommy coming today?" I sat on the edge of his bed. "Mommy will see you after preschool. She's going to pick you up, and you'll have dinner together." "Is she sad?" Children ask questions with a kind of honesty adults spend years avoiding. "Mommy loves you very much. Sometimes adults feel sad when things change." "Are you sad?" I looked at him. "Sometimes." Eli nodded. Then he reached out and put his small hand on mine. "Daddy," he said, calm. I did not speak for a moment, because he had heard me say that word before, when he cried during thunderstorms, when he dropped his ice cream, when he was scared of the dark. "Calm," I always told him. "Daddy's here." I smiled. "You're right, buddy. Calm." I do not know if Melissa and I will ever become friends. I do not know if I will ever understand how someone can sit at the same kitchen table, make plans for the future, and secretly prepare an exit through their child. But I know what I learned. Being a peaceful person does not mean accepting lies. Being a good father does not mean giving up your place in your child's life. And protecting your family does not always look like fighting. Sometimes it looks like listening. Sometimes it looks like preparing. Sometimes it looks like sitting beside a small bed before sunrise, holding your son's hand and choosing calm when everything inside you wants to break. Melissa thought I would not fight. She was right about one thing. I did not fight to destroy her. I fought to make sure my son never had to carry the weight of what we did wrong. If this story moved you, subscribe for more stories about family, betrayal, boundaries, and rebuilding a peaceful life after the truth comes out. And tell us in the comments, what would you do first if you heard a conversation like this through a baby monitor?
Faded flashes through the tinted window. Phones buzzing, signals out of sync. Hush voices swirling, city spin slow. Still I'm moving, engine drains. Benny high rises, pockets heavy with doubt. Silhouette in a downpour, folded bills and guilt. Blue flicker dashboard, posters in drought. Memory skips every promise, almost rebuilt. Pressure in my grip, veins humming chrome. Distant laughter stings, all we ever home. Sliding past warnings, tomorrow never calls. Hands on the wheel, watch the silence stall. It's all static when I'm near, tracing faces in the rear. Every echo's crystal clear. Can we stay lost in the mirror? Another name stitched in my sleeve, paper cups, secrets spilled in the breeze. Moving through rooms with nothing to leave, counting each time you heard with ease. Heartbeat sings to the siren's page, rust and gold thread these days. Glancing reflections, searching the trace. We put our space on a shifting base. It's all static when I'm near, tracing faces in the rear. Every echo's crystal clear. Less is over, kept us here. Signals cutting, fog on glass, pulse tethered to the past. No return, we spun too fast. Morning finds what couldn't last.